I'll just turn us around here so you can see. There's just a huge crowd of Donald Trump supporters here in Miami. So yeah, we're gonna walk around a little bit. Got some time to talk. We are outside of Donald Trump's court date. It's gonna be an interesting day. Donald Trump is due in 2 hours. He'll be appearing in federal court. It's scheduled for 3 o'clock. He's facing 37 different charges of mishandling classified information. Now, the crowd here, they recognize that Biden, he did that when he left office as vice president with no penalty, and they see this as simply a frame-up. They see this as simply an attempt to keep Donald Trump out of the election of 2024, which he would probably win. If the election were held today, polls indicate Donald Trump would be reelected in a landslide. And so the crowd here, they see this as just a frame-up. They see this as an attempt to keep him out of the election. So we're going to talk to people here. Now, this is Miami, let's remember, right? And this is a stronghold of the Cuban exile community, people who fled Cuba after the 1959 revolution. They like Donald Trump because Donald Trump calls Joe Biden a communist. They like Donald Trump because they think everything communist is bad. And so we're going to talk to the crowd here. So this should be a good conversation. You want to say more about that? You want to talk more about that? Go ahead.
I don't support that.
Yeah.
My president is going to be here in a little while.
Yeah.
And what they're doing to him, they need to be strung up. Hey, I am absolutely, I can build a gallows. Hang them and hang them right smack dab and bring them.
One thing I liked about Donald Trump is he said he wanted to stop these wars, these regime change wars. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, he needs to stop it all. And when he becomes president again, he will.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is the Democratic Party they've cheated for so many years, but they have the art of cheating down. I mean, they cheated in the 2020 election. What's not to say that they're not going to cheat in the 2024 election? I swear that they're going to cheat.
Yeah, and what do you think about, Biden's son was doing business in Ukraine, was getting bribes in Ukraine, and now we're sending all of our money over to Ukraine, right? All of the money. Instead of building schools here and hospitals here, jobs here, they're sending money to Ukraine to pay off Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's buddies who gave him that job. What do you make of that?
He needs to be held accountable. It's all and they don't know rule of law. When Schumer was like, he's not above the law. What about freaking all the rest of them? Are they above the law? Why are we not impeaching him? Why are we not throwing Hunter in the freaking gulag like the January 6 people?
Yeah, well, I think the January 6 people should be freed because it's the FBI, the informants, they were in there, and they completely staged that thing.
By the FBI in August being on Capitol grounds on January 6th.
Really? Your home was raided by the FBI?
Yes.
What happened?
They came in 6 a.m. in the morning, went through my entire house, took my flight jacket. I'm a veteran. Took my flight jacket, took my phone, took a bunch of stuff, and asked me a ton of questions. People I know, people I didn't know, mostly people I didn't know, and then they left.
Yeah.
And I have not heard from them since.
Yeah. Now, have you heard about the Uhuru movement? Do you know about that case? The Uhuru movement. These are 10 activists from St. Petersburg, Florida. 4 of them are facing 10 years in prison. And it's all just because they had some Zoom calls and some web conferences. They're saying that they're Russian agents. And Tucker Carlson supports them. Tucker Carlson is supporting them. Glenn Beck is supporting them. But yeah,
if Tucker supports them, I support him.
You support Uhuru, yeah. I mean, it's very scary. I've interviewed these people, the Uhuru movement. They're leftists, you know what I mean? They call themselves socialist communists, but they ran against Biden and the Democrats in the local elections. Now they're calling them Russian agents. They're going to give him 10 years in prison. It's unbelievable, you know?
Yeah, Hunter walked around scot-free.
So when they raided your home, did they have guns drawn?
Yep. No, I walked out and they came up.
I see.
So, yeah, they had guns. There were probably 15 of them.
Just because you went to the January 6th rally?
Because I was on Capitol grounds on January 6th.
Wow.
Did not go into, I had no business going in.
So you didn't even go in and they raided your home? That's wild. That's insane. You know? Yeah, it's wild. Have you heard of COINTELPRO and the FBI's programs, how they've targeted peace activists and other people over the years? It's the same kind of thing. They're down doing it to Trumpers.
So what needs to happen is Kevin McCarthy needs to pull the purse strings, defund. He doesn't need them.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Defund the FBI, defund the CIA. Absolutely. Do you want to say your name or no?
No.
Okay, that's all right. Well, thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, wasn't that a conversation, folks? Wasn't that great? That was wild. All right, let's just keep walking around. I'm having a great time. We're going to talk to some more Trumpers. This is great. This is great. You heard it. They support the Uhuru movement. They want to defund the FBI. This is awesome. This is where the energy is, right? We can be critical of Trump in our own way, but you want to talk about that woman just got her home raided by the FBI because she was at January 6th. She didn't even go into the Capitol, and her home was raided by the FBI. She said defund the FBI. She said she supports the Uhuru movement. She wants to defund the CIA. This is where the energy is. This is where the energy is. All right. Do you want to talk? You want to be on? All right. Tell us about yourself.
I'm from Port Charlotte, Florida, and I came here today because I support the real president. It was stolen from him, and he's going to take it back. 4 more years coming up.
Yeah. So you think these charges are just a frame up, basically, to keep? Yeah.
Everything else that they pulled, times they tried to get him, Russia, that went with the White House.
Yeah, that was bullshit. That was just bullshit.
They can't get this guy. They've tried everything they can do.
Yeah, and why do you think Biden is sending all this money and all these weapons to Ukraine?
Because he's bought and paid for by Ukraine.
Yeah.
Him and his son both got paid $5 million apiece from Ukraine. It's proven. They should be in jail. They
Yeah.
got the wrong guy up there.
Yeah, Russia's not our enemy.
No.
Absolutely.
The Democratic Party is our enemy.
And the FBI.
And the FBI. The CIA.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Defund them, right? Now, have you heard about the Uhuru case that's going on in St. Petersburg, Florida? There are these 4 black activists. They charged them with being Russian agents. And Joe Biden's DOJ wants to put them in 10 years in prison just for having some Zoom calls with the Russians or something like that. Tucker Carlson supports them. Glenn Beck supports them. You should check it out. Yeah, the Uhuru case. And just like they're going after Trumpers and raiding people's homes, they're doing the same thing to the Uhuru movement. Anyone who stands up to the Democrats, anyone who doesn't want World War III, they target them. It's really wild.
I mean, like Laura Loomer couldn't even come here today without her being on a watch list.
Now, who is this?
Laura Loomer was here.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Laura Loomer. Yeah. I know about her from Egypt. She did reporting and stuff. Yeah. Very good. Well, thanks for talking to us. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. No, I'm from Ohio originally. But I'm a reporter now. I live in New York City, but I'm here to cover the case. What about you?
Yeah, well, I'm from Tampa.
You're from Tampa. So what do you make of all this?
Obviously, it's a pretty big spectacle. I think the people are finally kind of smarting up to kind of what's going on. We have a weaponized Department of Justice that's only going after, political opponents of the uniparty. It's not Democrats, Republicans. It's a uniparty that's controlled Washington for quite some time, and the only 4 years that wasn't happening was when Trump was there before. Basically, I think they're all hands on deck to make sure that Trump can't run against them.
Well, one thing I liked about Donald Trump is he was against these wars, these regime change wars.
Yes, and we seem to have more peace and more prosperity with other countries throughout that entire process. So it's like, so who's really pulling the purse strings in Washington? It's warmongers. That's where this money's going. It's going to Ukraine and then getting swept right back to us through weapons and basically, Raytheon, Honeywell, all these private defense companies are the ones that are actually getting the weapons contracts. Yeah, it kind of stimulates our economy, but it's only good wartime then apparently.
Yeah.
And Trump seemed to find a different way. We seem to be economically stable without having to necessarily be in a war. So
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Hopefully the people get behind this. It seems like this is very peaceful.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad happening here, and I think it's good. I think it's good that people are starting to realize, like, look, if this can happen to a former president, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. These are wild conversations I'm having out here with Trump supporters. This is great. This is great stuff. Just walking around. It's total media circus here, by the way. I mean, just every media outlet that you've ever heard of is here. It's a wild time. So I'm going to do some different interviews. I'm just going to walk around, keep walking around here. If anyone has a super chat or something like that, send me a super chat. I can happily answer any of your questions. But yeah, we're just going to keep walking around here. I'm going to have to go back on the air. Be sure to watch RT. We're going to be back on the air soon. But there you go. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to keep walking around, interviewing people. This is where we belong. So yeah, these folks are against the FBI. These folks are against the endless wars. They're against sending more money to Ukraine. So there we go. So. Can I talk to you about your sign? Can I talk to you about your sign? So tell me about it. Yeah. Well, I agree with you about Biden. But I've been to Nicaragua. And Ortega, you know, the opposition there they're everywhere. They're supported. The people there support Ortega. No, they were rioting. They blew up buildings. I've been to Nicaragua. I was an election observer. He won that election. Ortega is a great leader. He's helping the people of Nicaragua.
But you don't put your opposition in jail. He has opposition in jail.
Because they tried to violently overthrow him. They, you know, I am here. I think the charges against Trump are bullshit. But I think that, you know, that Ortega, you know, he's kind of like Trump. He made Nicaragua great again. I mean, they have a higher life expectancy than the people of Guatemala. They're doing way better than the people in Honduras. They've eradicated illiteracy. They're building a new canal with. No, he's elected. He's elected democratically. They call Trump a dictator. It's the same mainstream media says about Ortega what it says about Trump. It's the same mainstream media. And the regime change wars. Trump wants to stop the wars, right? And yeah, and this is the propaganda against Ortega, against Fidel, against Maduro. That's the people who want to start the wars. That's the war lobby. They, you know.
I'm Cuban.
Yes.
Fidel is a communist dictator who killed and put up his opposition, put hundreds of thousands of people in jail.
And aren't Cubans doing way better than Haitians?
Absolutely not.
Do you think Haiti's better off than Cuba?
Haiti
Is capitalism.
No, it's not. This United States is capitalism. Are
Yeah.
you telling me the United States is bad?
What do you mean?
The United States, the economy is
The big
bad.
bankers who run this country, the big billionaire monopolists that are starting wars, that are going after Trump, that support Biden, they're bad. But America's great because we started with a revolution. You know, with the American founding fathers, they hated the British Empire.
We're not perfect.
The founding fathers were like Fidel.
But you cannot compare Cuba
Yeah.
with the United States, or you can compare Cuba. If you, like, I left Cuba when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
They took our house, they took everything from us, just with a machine gun. Oh, this is for the government. Boom, and they took it.
But the rate of home ownership in Cuba is way bigger than in America. Americans are losing their homes now to the big banks. Cubans own their own homes way higher rate than Americans do.
Own their homes if they're with the party. If they're not with the party, they do not own their homes.
So you're saying that
Allowed.
only party members own their homes in Cuba? You really believe that?
Only if you're with the party.
Only Communist Party members? I think every Cuban, for the most part, has home ownership. They have a higher rate of home ownership than Americans do.
Have you been to Cuba?
I have.
You have.
Well, actually, I haven't. No, I've been to Nicaragua. I've been to Ecuador.
Go to Cuba, but
Okay.
don't go to Cuba with the people
Right.
that show you. Go with the people.
Right.
They are starving. They have no medicine.
That's Haiti. That's capitalist Haiti. That's Honduras. That's Guatemala. That's America. But in Cuba, the people there are living way better than the people throughout the region. No, that's the war. You're repeating the warmonger, the regime change propaganda. The same people that are supporting Biden. Biden is supporting this. He wants to overthrow Fidel.
You know what?
What?
You have to live communism to understand it. You did not. Have you lived under communism? Lived under it.
Well, all the
Have you-
people.
have you lived
Okay.
under communism?
And what about all the people who have? The polls show in the former Soviet Union, everyone says life was better under communism. Every former Soviet country. Russia, they say life was better. Soviet nostalgia is at all-time high in Russia. They lived under it. They lived under it. Why do the people there say it was better? Why do the people there say it was better before capitalism came in?
Don't they cut you're dead.
No, but the communists aren't in power anymore. And people still say it was better.
It was a KGB, sir.
Oh, so you're against Russia. So you're with Biden. You're a Russiagator. You believe the war propaganda against Russia. So is Donald Trump a Russian agent? So then why are you repeating that propaganda? You're repeating Joe Biden propaganda here.
Russia is a communist country.
Russia is.
Putin is a communist leader.
So
He's a dictator.
so then I guess you support Biden, the Russiagate, right? Biden's sending all of our money, all our tax money is going to Ukraine. This country is falling apart.
I agree with that.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
We should not be sending any money over
Yes.
there. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
Russia should be friends with America.
Well, we should get along.
Yes.
Get along.
Yes.
Not friends, but we should get along because we don't want war.
Exactly.
Against
I agree.
war.
Well, we can agree on that. We can agree on that.
We can agree on a lot of stuff. You think you were changing the situation.
Yeah.
You did not live under Castro.
No, I didn't.
You did not live under.
I've been to Venezuela.
And Venezuela is
I've
better
seen
than
Venezuela.
10 years ago? Is it better than 10
Yes,
years ago?
absolutely. You know, they have wiped out illiteracy. I walked through neighborhoods in Caracas where every single building was built by an interest-free
So
loan from the
let me ask
government.
you, if you had your own,
Yeah.
let's say, no, we need a lot of photos. If you had your own business,
Yeah.
and Maduro comes and say, you know what, this business is now nationalized.
Well, let me tell you
Do
something.
you agree to that?
Maduro helps people start their own small businesses. There are thousands. I walked through stores where every store was created by a loan from Maduro.
Did you ask them if they have to give
success of
money?
socialism in
Did you-
Nicaragua is small business ownership. Micro entrepreneurship is a big part of 21st century socialism.
Did you ask those people if they have to give money to Maduro for?
No, Maduro gives them money. From the oil money, they get a subsidy from the government to start their own business.
Did you ask them if they have to give back money to Maduro?
They get a subsidy. Maduro is giving them. This is micro entrepreneurship is a big part. It's like what they do in China.
But in Cuba,
No, in Cuba they're
to own your own business,
Yeah.
you have to pay like half or more to the communist.
like taxes, like we pay here.
Not taxes, like much more, like 50% or whatever you make.
Okay.
What is that? That's not.
But the strength, you have to admit, the strength of Nicaragua, the strength of China, the strength of Vietnam is that they support small businesses. I mean, these communist countries, they support small businesses more than America does. America crushes small businesses. No, I've been there. I've been to Venezuela. I've been to Ecuador. Yeah.
Under a communist country.
They're trying, the same corporations that try to remove Trump are the same corporations spreading the war propaganda. Trump wants to get us out of the wars. That's war propaganda. That's war propaganda.
So this is saying, you read, this is leaders who put their opposition in jail.
And they don't do that.
Did that. Yes,
I saw
they did.
opposition people all over Nicaragua. There are opposition people everywhere. I've been to Nicaragua. I observed the elections. I interviewed opponents.
You're not a Nicaraguan. You have to live communism. To know
Yeah, and the Nicaraguans have a higher life expectancy than Guatemalans, a higher life expectancy than Haitians, a higher life expectancy than Hondurans.
Go to your Cuba. Go.
Trying to speak some sense into these people. How can you see the US government going after Donald Trump because he's more anti-war, using the FBI and CIA to go after them, but still repeat warmongering, regime change propaganda against Nicaragua, against Venezuela? Very confused, right? Donald Trump stood up to the war lobby. That's why they're going after him. So there we go. There we go. That was an interesting conversation. Wild times. Wild times.
The glasses?
I'm going to tell you when we're on. Give me a second. Yep. That's except for
Anyone want to talk to us? Tell us why you're out here today. Want to talk to us? Why are you here today? Yeah, what do you think of the charges against Trump?
That's all fake.
I agree. Yeah, they just want to keep him from running for office. They just want to keep him from running for office.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Fake. All fake.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they will win. That's what they do.
Yeah, what do you think of Biden sending all of our money to Ukraine?
That's bad, man. The money is sent to Ukraine. They should keep it over here.
Absolutely.
The homeless people, the better. That's
Yes.
the money they should keep. We send billions of dollars to Ukraine and Ukraine He steal all the money.
Absolutely, absolutely. What do you think of Assange, Julian Assange? We ought to free him.
Look at the son of Blanca is worse than him.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a mafia. This government is a mafia.
The Biden crime family.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what do you make of like the FBI, how they've gone after Trump supporters?
They were divided. They're together.
Yeah,
They use him, the FBI to
absolutely,
Trump.
absolutely. Good to talk to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I'm a reporter. I work with RT from Russia, but I do. This is for my YouTube channel. Good to talk to you. Yeah. Stop the frame up. Yeah.
Things that a lot of people.
This crowd wants to stop the wars. This crowd doesn't trust the FBI. This crowd doesn't trust the CIA. These folks are far more anti-establishment than any of the leftists that I know. And all the leftists I know these days, they support the FBI, they support sending weapons to Ukraine. This crowd of people, they're up against the deep state. They're up against the FBI, they're up against the CIA, you know, and they are confused. They think they're all communists, but these people want to stop the wars, and the left supports the wars now. You know, the left are the big supporters of the FBI. They're supporters of crushing our civil liberties. This is an interesting crowd of people. This is an interesting crowd of folks. Yeah, a lot of good conversations we've had around here today. I'm really enjoying this. If people are in the chat, if they got anything they want to say. I see Christina Peach is in the chat. I see Grapetine is in the chat. Free Julian Assange. Yeah, just walking around, folks, just trying to have good conversations here. Tried to raise the Uhuru case. That's an outrageous thing the Department of Justice is doing. Trying to talk to people about all the money that's being wasted sending on these weapons to Ukraine. You want to talk to me?
I want to listen to what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm just telling people about how much I don't like how Biden is sending all of America's money to Ukraine. Yeah.
Wait, I want to take my picture with you.
Oh, okay. Sure thing. Yeah, there you go. I'm having a great time talking to people here. These folks are against the FBI. They're against the CIA. They are against the police state. They are against sending weapons to Ukraine. These folks they are on the right side. They may not know it, but they are on the right side, right? Donald Trump is being targeted by the same deep state that has targeted American working families, the same deep state that has raided the homes of so many progressive people, the same deep state that has trying to put the Uhuru movement in prison for 10 years for allegedly being Russian agents just for being against the war. I mean, these folks, they are seeing what U.S. imperialism is all about. They're seeing about what the Wall Street warmongers and their low-wage police state, and they're up against it. They see Donald Trump as their champion against the police state, against the emerging low-wage police state. And that's very important. That's very important. Yeah, now I had a good argument with that woman. She had the sign condemning Nicaragua, condemning Cuba, and I said, look, the same people who hate Donald Trump are the ones spreading propaganda against those countries. So, and even though she was Cuban, she hated Cuba and all that, she wanted better relations. She didn't want war, which is a step forward. Usually the Miami Cuban crowd are the first ones saying, send the troops. They want a whole new war. They just hate communism so much. But even those folks, they may hate Cuba, they may hate communism. They don't want a war. And so that was interesting, to hear. She said we should get along with Russia better. These are good conversations we're having out here. This is good stuff, folks. So I'll probably be back on later. I got to let my phone cool down and stuff, but we'll be back. We'll be back. So, yeah, keep watching, folks. I'm having a great time out here outside Trump's court date. This crowd knows what side they're on. They're against the deep state, and this is who we